Hey guys, this is the next video concerning layout. So, the next kind of step when it comes to building a website is obviously your layout, how to make things kind of position next to each other. So, for instance, would be again my website. This is again. I keep using my website because it's the simplest site that I've ever built. So I think it's easy, if you guys ever want to you view the source code, see how it's built. It's not organized in a way that isn't beyond your skill set because again, this is a website that I did right where I'm at with you guys now. My very first website. I'm giving you the same exact information that I got when I came through this process. So I'm not throwing anything like crazy or new. The only thing that I would say probably that's different is the kind of the way that it was organized. When I took web design, it was more about, hey, here's a book, read the book, and then get back to us. Here, design whatever website you want, just come to class and we'll help you figure it out, once you tell us what you want to do. So and that was where I struggled a lot because I was like, well, I don't know, and I did. I bit off more than I could chew. Because nobody was really telling me like, okay, you probably shouldn't do that or you probably shouldn't do this. Um, and I've kind of, was talking to a couple of you as things were kind of going down of making sure to think about from a functionality standpoint what you can and can't do. Um, like I say, this is a relatively easy website. It's got a slider. It's got hyperlinks, but there's not like a lot to it. It's not terribly robust in any kind of coding way. Although, yeah, it looks nice, but, it's not neither here nor there. So, but we're going to look at, look at we've got 3 columns right here, 2 rows of 3 columns of things. So the way that you get these to happen is through positioning. So if you're looking at chapter 15, then it starts getting into how to position elements of absolute positioning and floating, and that's what we're going to looking at. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this column float left, this column position center, and this column float right. So the way that we're going to do that is, or similarly we're going to do that, is, so I created already a comment of left, of middle, of right. Pardon me, I copied some code from the actual website itself. This is the naming convention that I gave it in my website, and you'll see that too, again, like if you want to grab the source code and look at it. So I gave it a class, a div class of column 3-1, 2, and 3. So because it made sense to me of like, okay, if I'm creating, divs that are 3 columns, versus trying to name it something else of like, column 1, column 2, column 3, it's like, well, I don't know what that necessarily means. But if I put, I named them this way because it's like, okay, I want to create a 3-column grid. This is position 1, left, middle, and right. Again, if this was a 4 columns, if I wanted to create 4 columns, then I would have named it column 4, 1, 4, 2, 4, 3, 4, 4. However it works for you. If you can kind of come up with your own naming convention as it makes sense to you, but this made sense to me at the time and it still does today. So again, you can see again, I made really big, large comments telling myself that this is what's going on. This is the left column, this is the middle column, this is the right column. So this being said, let's go ahead and insert some images just so you can see what's going on. So again, this is kind of a review, but I'm going to do an image rollover just because like how the website itself it does. When you hover over it, it's got this little paintbrush stroke underneath. I'm going to go ahead and do that as well. So I've already created those images. I'm going to say this is column left. Even though this is incorrect, I'm doing this for you guys. I'm going to put this as column left as the image name. I'm going to browse. You would obviously name it whatever it made sense of, like if it was, let's do this. So branding. So you know what? I'm going to actually change it back. I'm going to put this as branding. because that makes more sense. Nacho. Nacho. Mama's Designs Branding. So you can't say that I didn't do it correctly. So Nacho Mama's Design Branding, and then Nacho Branding's Designs. Cover. So I'm also going to give it the alt text the same thing. Actually, I'm going to make this shorter just so it's easier to read later. So branding, putting it in there, alt text that, and we'll send this to, actually, I'm just going to send it again to Google. Okay. And then, so same thing, I'm actually going to do a hard return just so that everything is in that tab kind of way, and it makes it really easy to read later. So I'm going to highlight that, and I'm using the tab button to move it over, so tab. So now I know this is underneath and inside column 3-1. So same thing over here. I'm going to tab that over and tab that. So insert image objects, roll image, and browse, and printer, hover. I'm going to send this to Facebook actually, just to make it so that it's going someplace else. Okay. And then So when you're making these breaks, just make sure that you're not breaking up anything that should be in line with itself. So you can see these natural spaces. This is where I'm kind of picking where to put, grouping things together. So name, width, height, border, ID. I'm going to break it there. But like, see how you've got this on mouse over, on mouse out. This whole thing, this looks like it's pretty in line with each other. So I grouped it together. So that's my kind of logic to it. And if nothing breaks, then it works. There's no wrong, right, or reason of like you have to do certain things together or not. This is my way of doing it. So you guys can figure out what works best for you. It's like I say, it's just this is what I've learned over the years to work for me, and you guys can figure out what makes sense for you. So last one, hover, and I'll put print, and I'm gonna put. And I'm gonna send it to Twitter. So again, I'm just grabbing it at natural breaking points, and then doing it at the same place each time. So as I look, each of those, oops, that one didn't do. They're the same, so that if something doesn't, if I start to see that something isn't working, then I can kind of look, oh, well, maybe that's where it comes from. So notice the link is Google, the link is Facebook, the link is Twitter, on mouse in, on mouse out, second line, image source, is the third line, name is the fourth line. They all kind of live together. And then again too, like everything's lined up really nice and pretty, so it's really easy to see what's going on without anything being confusing. So I haven't done anything to those divs at all, so I'm going to show you what this looks like in Firefox. Again, I named it index, so yeah, so they're in line. I created 3 divs, boom, boom, boom. This is the default way that the HTML will see these things. Like I say, boom, goes to Google. So you can test those out if you want to, if you're following along. So yeah, so how do we get these to look like this? Well, what we do is we have to position the column. So I'm going to put my mouse inside the column there. I'm going to say I want a new CSS rule. And again, lovely, check it out. I've created, it's grabbing the class automatically for me and saying, did you want to make this a class? And, put it in your main CSS. And I'm like, yes, how courteous of you to do this for me. That's so lovely. So then we can go over here to positioning. Now, everything's going to give you kind of a drop index. You can fill in the different parts and pieces.